My great-grandfather hit his wife with a fire poker and slit her throat. He then proceeded to blow her head apart with a shotgun. He sat in a rocking chair and used his cane to push the trigger. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be reading another, I don't really know what to call it, another list from Ranker. You know I'm in love with this, so I'm gonna be reading. This one is 25 people describe their scariest family secrets. So we're gonna go ahead and read this list. What type of secrets y'all got? What y'all hiding, fam? Like, let me know. Let me find out. But before we get on into this list, don't forget to hit that. Don't forget to subscribe to your girl, because you know you should. Give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below what else you guys would like to see from me on my channel. And don't forget to turn your post notification. Click the bell right next to the subscribe button, so you know every time that I upload or go live on YouTube. And without further ado, let's get right into the list. If you thought you and your family had skeletons in your closet, wait until you read these 25 horrid and salacious tales compiled from a Reddit thread. Some of these stories are harrowing, some unbelievable, and some downright insane. The first one. We have a pedophile in the family, one who also is a misogynist. So he molests girls with the sole purpose of ruining their lives. He had abused all of my aunts and raped a 7-year-old girl who lived next door, and probably a lot of others that I don't know about. Everyone kept it pretty quiet until his wife filed for divorce because he was cheating on her and used the molestation cases for a benefit. He has 3 sons who still don't know what their father is. He isn't in jail because that would be bad for the family name. Because, you know, we're also proper and law-abiding. I keep trying to get my parents or other relatives to take action, but his wife refuses any suggestions of the sort, and she also thinks that the other girls were asking for it. It gets me really pissed that these people are related to me. So this dude is a pedophile in your family, and no one's doing anything about that because they don't want their family name tarnished by having a pedophile in the family. So you guys would rather have him walk in the streets to molest and rape another girl and ruin her life. Y'all are the worst kind of people. People that condone that stuff are no better than him. Number 2, a need for milk turns deadly. My great-grandfather hit his wife with a fire poker and slit her throat. He then proceeded to blow her head apart with a shotgun. He sat in a rocking chair and used his cane to push the trigger, all over an argument whether it was too cold for me to walk to a grocery store to get some milk. Your granddaddy killed your grandmama and shot her because they were arguing over whether it was too cold for you to get milk or not. What sense does that make? That's crazy. 3, who's who? My older sister is actually my mother. My father was my mother's actually grandmother, husband. They don't think I know. No, that's the nastiest stuff I ever heard. So her mother is her sister, and her dad, oh no, her father is her mother's actually grandma, so her grandma who she thought was her mom, husband. That's nasty as hell. 4, wicked mother. My mother abused me my whole life, and one day I finally couldn't take anymore and told a teacher. Child Protective Services, CPS, was called, and as soon as my mom realized what was going on, she raced to the police station and told them an hour previously I had gone crazy and tried to kill my baby sister so that I looked like the crazy one. And nothing I said would be taken seriously. I was removed from school in handcuffs and immediately taken to the county courthouse where I had to face my mother in trial. I chose not to testify because I knew it wouldn't help, but in the end, the judge realized that she was crazy and I wasn't. I had the choice between being put in a psychiatric hospital for teens or going home, so I chose the loony bin. 5 days later, my aunt came from another state and adopted me. My family doesn't talk about it, and to this day, my mother maintains that I was a horrible child and I was sent away for my own good, and that she is so happy I am better now. 5, cult mother. I'm pretty sure my mother was in some sort of cult or something as a child. Parents forced her and raped her, I think. She would tell me these pretty creepy stories of bodies being chopped up and thrown down a well. It's incredibly disturbing, and I really don't want to know what really happened. I don't want to know neither, low key. 6, foul play. I just found out that my grandparents wanted more kids but were having trouble getting pregnant for the 2nd time. They adopted a toddler-aged brother and sister when my mother was 7. Soon after, my grandmother got pregnant and the girl died from a very mysterious fall down the stairs. The boy was quietly given to another family. They never spoke either child from that day forward. I thought my mom was pulling my leg, but a quick search turned up the girl's death record. I was never close to that grandmother and can't help but think back to every weird aspect of that woman and all the strange relationships she had with her family. That girl was not pushed down. That girl was not fall down on stairs, probably pushed. 7. The dream friend. I had an aunt who committed suicide when I was 3 and my older sister was 4. Her daughter had ran off and no one had any idea what happened to her. It was my older sister who had told my mom that Aunt Pam is playing in the garage. Sure enough, they found her dead in the car. No one knew why my older sister knew this, and when asked about it, she said that her dream friend told her. My sister and I found about this recently. My sister also used to talk to this dream friend who came to her first dream about a graveyard. I don't think it's a dream friend, fam. 8. The heretic serial killer. My distant ancestor, 8 times great times 8 uncle, was a sociopath and a serial killer. Wow, that's just freaking normal to know. Oh wow. His name was Tom Quick and he was an Indian slayer who stalked the Delaware tribe. What? He claimed to have killed 99 members of the tribe by the time he died, including an entire unarmed family with 2 young boys and an infant, which he beat to death with a rock. What's weird, these days his monument in Pennsylvania had to be removed due to vandals, but when it was erected in 1889, he was considered a hero and a defender of the civilized settlers. What? 9. Crippling mental illness. My schizophrenic aunt has burned down her house and crucified her cats. I'm not making this up, guys. I'm literally reading this and I'm as weirded out as you. Number 10. Killer uncle, blackmailer father. An uncle I've never met, mom's brother, killed my mom's parents when he was 16 in a fit of rage, burned down their home in an attempt to cover it up. I've never met him, as he's been in jail on a life sentence since before I was born. I was only informed of his existence because my dad was blackmailing my mom with this. What? How you gonna blackmail somebody with what? You know, I killed him, my brother killed him, like what am I gonna do about that? Like, what? And that's really rude and sad to use that against your own wife, like what? Or ex-wife, whatever. 11. The KKK took my uncle away. A great uncle of mine passed away when I was a little boy. The family met at his house after the funeral to start packing things up and all. And as he had no children and his wife died many years before him, my great uncle was a highly respected member of his small town. He was a banker of some sorts, deacon in the church, all of those things that made him a good person. Well, tucked away in the attic, not covered by any dust, mind you, was a large wooden trunk. Inside the trunk were the purple robes of a KKK Grand Dragon. Various member listings, meeting notes, and all other sorts of things related to the KKK. Turns out that my great uncle was a very active, although very much secretive, member of the regional chapter of the KKK. Wow. Yeah, good person. That's why I put quotations around good person. Yeah, he looks like a good person on the outside, but inside he's someone that hates African Americans and people of color because of something they can't change. Wow. R.I.P. I guess. 12. Mistress murderer. Or mistress murder. My great-grandfather had a 17-year-old mistress he put up in an apartment. Great-grandmother found out, confronted them at said apartment, shoots and kills 17-year-old mistress. Great-grandfather serves time in prison for the murder. 13. Our legal system at work. My grandmother must have preferred first-person shooters just like her grandson, since it only took one headshot to kill my grandfather. During trial, her lawyer guaranteed that she would get off scot-free as long as she did one thing. Apparently, it was a known fact to a handful of lawyers that the judge connected with my grandmother's trial had an affinity for hookers. The lawyer claimed that the judge was known to make decisions in the defendant's favor whenever he was gifted a blonde one in particular. My grandmother followed her counsel's advice, and after the judge was satisfied, she walked out of the court a free woman. I am one of a select few in our family who have any knowledge of the entire event that took place. I only found out about the whole thing because during one of my great-grandmother's rants, she complained about all the money that went to my grandmother, including buying that judge the sleaziest blonde hooker she could afford. I was able to pry the rest of the information out of her at that point. Wow, only in America, only in America. Okay, 14, an axe murdering uncle. My uncle is serving a lifetime prison sentence for murdering a prostitute with an axe. 15, the mummified lover. In 1976, my grandfather was in the military and traveled to Guatemala after an earthquake. During the cleanup, he was at the mine site of Mexico, I don't know how to say that word, There were several burial sites overturned. For some reason unknown to me, he brought back the remains of a female Maya Indian. He claimed to have loved her in a past life. These remains are still in the box in our attic. They are all mostly dust now, with a part of the skull left. Ew! My father died in 1986, so I cannot ask him about it. My mother and sisters claimed her ghost followed them wherever they moved until my dad died. I am skeptical of that claim. I also have a half-brother in Puerto Rico who is in his 30s I will never meet. I only know his name is Ricky, and my dad had a flame with a Puerto Rican woman while stationed there in the army sometime in the 70s. So he took some random woman's remains to claim to have loved her in a past life? Like, what? You took someone's remains back with you? Like, ew, that's weird. And they let you do that? Well, I guess. In America, that's like taboo. You can't do that. Whatever. 16. Bad cure for depression. My grandmother jumped off a cliff and killed herself after receiving shock therapy to cure her depression. She was staying with us during winter when she went missing. They found the footprints in the snow that led up to the cliff. I found this out when I was 20 years old from my cousin who was 18 at the time. 17. A rather spotted history. My uncle was kidnapped for 2 years when he was 15. He never spoke of it. He's never spoken of it to this day. Also, my super uptight neocon evangelical Christian uncle who lives in Nebraska was actually a hippie stoner in the 60s. Oh, and his wife is a mail order bride. Oh, and my aunt's college fiance was murdered by a hitchhiker. Your family just got some bad mojo going on over there. Like, damn. Kidnapped? That gotta be terrifying to be kidnapped. 18. Mysterious disappearance. My grandmother was on my mom's side, just kind of disappeared and no one heard from her again. The story was that she fled back to her home country, Japan, leaving behind 2 daughters. Of course, alternate speculation exists. The only person with answers would have been my grandpa, but he didn't ever want to talk about it and took whatever he knew to the grave. Wow, he's petty. So he never told the rest of the family where the hell she went? Y'all just going, like, really? That must be devastating for your daughters. They're like, oh, mom just fucking left and just never came back. Like, what? 19. Past crimes. My uncle murdered 2 guys when he lived in someplace in Mexico. He's an ex-drug dealer and he was drunk when he slipped this out to my dad. I was eavesdropping. 20. Holy family is woefully delusional. My family thinks my dad is a priest of the... What are you saying? I'm gonna put the word right here. Order, and will change the way the world does. Church. My dad weighs 600 pounds, is in chronic pain, and is lucky to leave the couch more than once a month. Is diabetic and isn't even 50 years old and has already had a major pulmonary embolism. They don't tell anyone outside the family because they won't understand. Your family is that delusional that they believe this man is a priest, but he's morbidly obese. Can't relate. 21. Love in the time of mental instability. My grandparents met in a mental hospital. My grandmother worked there and my grandfather was a patient. I don't like where this is going. He was also married at the time, and since he never got a divorce, my grandparents weren't legally married. That's something. Okay. 22. Suspicious stepmother. We are pretty convinced my dad's wife had a hand in his death in order to take all his money. We can't prove it though. No. 23. A sad turn of events. Some family from my dad's side was asking if he would take in one of my distant cousins because the cousin was turning out to be a problem child. Apparently, it's pretty common for that side of the family to send problem children to other members of the family in an attempt to get them in shape. My dad said no because he didn't have that much money and was dealing with some serious health issues like epilepsy in his heart. A few months later, the kid ended up robbing a store and murdering the owner of that store with a butcher knife. My dad felt guilty about it, and I don't think anyone in the family knows that the kid's mom had asked for my dad to watch him. I personally don't think sending the kid to stay away would have changed him, but my dad always used to wonder out loud to me in private if he could have done something to help. I don't think so. I think he probably would have ended up murdering y'all, so it's probably a good thing you didn't take that boy in, because I think he probably would have killed regardless. Like, don't kill no me, fam. I won't be nowhere near that, boo. Whew. 24. Small town secret. I suppose this is a secret. We don't really talk about it. My mom's boyfriend's dad murdered his wife by running her over with a car. It was a big deal at the time since we are from a small area. Your mom's boyfriend's dad murdered his wife by running her over with a car. Okay. What? And last but not least, number 25, secret strange wealth. I have no idea how my family gets its money. While growing up, I would ask my parents, usually my dad, how it worked. And since my parents did not work, to which they would respond that we get money from my grandmother. whenever we would get low on cash, my mom would always be reluctant to ask for more money from my grandma. And we kids complained about being low on money, thus not having much good food at home. My dad would tell stuff like, we're never actually short on money. We actually have a lot, just not right now. Or something in that direction. What did your family do? He also mentioned stuff about how when we kids are older, we'll all get money that my mom was supposed to inherit. What? Last year, when my mom and my sister and I were overseas staying with my grandparents over summer, I was able to find out that my mom had some stocks. I asked her how much they were worth, and she simply said she did not know, and that my grandmother handles those things. Grandparents are currently paying for my brother's tuition, college tuition. I think around $4,000 per semester, but I don't know. And we'll soon be paying for my sister's, $12,000. I asked my brother about it, and he said it was through stocks and that he didn't understand it himself either, and just leave it. So yeah, that's probably the biggest secret in Sally. I don't even know it. What? That's so weird. So you guys have money, but your grandparents give your parents money? How do they have, what's your family doing on the side? That sounds like some drugs. They selling something, they doing something they supposed to be doing. Because if you was anything legitimate, you would just tell them and be like, well, grandma does, she slings books or something. I don't know, like what? That's still weird. Very weird. So yeah, that was 25 people sharing their family secrets. A lot of those should have been kept to themselves. The internet did not need to know, but they didn't say any names or anything, so it doesn't really matter. But before you guys leave, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click the big red button to see more of me, because you know you'll want to. Give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below what else you guys like to see from me on my channel. And don't forget to turn your post notifications. Click the bell right next to the big red button to know every time that I upload or go live on YouTube, because I do very often. And I will see you, my friends, in another video. Bye, friends.